Hello everyone, welcome to an Venge Act 1 2.0 devlog. So, Venge is an indie horror mascot adventure game. It's super fun, it's on Steam right now, and I'm the developer of it. So, I'm a little biased when I say that it's awesome, but we're going to be getting started with this and we're going to be playing the real world and the Pinter. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, the real world and the Pinter were one of the hardest parts of the 2.0 remaster. So, I have a lot to say. So, sorry if this video is super long, but let's just jump right into it. So, the beginning of each act starts with a little poem, which we'll see here in a second. And it's a little cringy, but I think it'll be fine. So, I'm going to read it dramatically. You feel lightheaded and dizzy. And somehow, the ground is aware. Some unknown force pulls you deeper. So very deep underground, but to where? It's a little cliche, but you know what? I had fun writing it, so that's all that matters. Act 1! Bum bum bum! Okay, so Act 1 starts with this beautiful intro cutscene here, which is pre-rendered and it smoothly blends back into the scene. Oh, I just noticed that red light should be purple. That's a mistake. Anyway, so we smoothly transition into the game. Let me know in the comments if you can guess where that transition happens. I can promise you, or I can tell you that it doesn't happen when the camera goes black. So, just a little hint there. But anyway, we get introduced to the health mechanic as we lie in pain on the floor, where the health bar is your crosshair. I'm really proud of that little UI design. I think that looks really nice. I already found a mistake. Hold on, look at this. I need to polish this game. I really do, especially if I'm going to be increasing the price. Look at that. That's embarrassing. We're not going to talk about that, all right? So, welcome. Sorry, I need to set the mood. Welcome to Rotnik Entertainment. So, as you can see, this building is a mess. It is quite damaged. We have a rock here. And let's just kind of make our way this way. Ooh, ominous. This door has been there since the very beginning. Ignore that. We don't talk about that. That's not my fault. That's Unity's fault. Anyway, let me set the scene here. I mean, not that you, just in case you're not watching. I don't know. So, we enter into this spooky room here, and it's destroyed. There's a giant metal thing, and then there's also a giant pool of blood. Now, when I was making this, can I tell you a bit of a secret? I tend to not be very afraid of change when it comes to making games. So there's a lot of stuff in 2.0 where I just completely remade and just did things very differently. But this area, I was completely scared of changing. Back in 1.0 with the original release before the remaster, this area looked kind of similar, but I was so scared of changing it because I felt like it was too iconic and people would be mad. But then one day I just had the realization, like, the intro doesn't work anymore for the game. So I finally got brave enough and I changed it. Anyway, we're not going to read all of this stuff. You can read it if you want to get in the game. But we have this falling gate here, which is also from the original game. And this is our introduction to items and how they work, as well as the AES system. But I was completely scared of changing all of this because I don't fully know. I was in my own head about it, but I did eventually change it, and I think it turned out so much better. So I really wanted the first area of the game to feel very abandoned and very, like, obviously something really wrong happened here, right? So we'll hopefully see that as we kind of crawl through this first part of the game here. But I really want to give off the vibe that something really bad happened. And again, you can read this if you want. I'm not going to read it because that would be really boring. But we'll follow this little blood trail here. And fun fact, I don't know if it's a very fun fact, but this is the first time that I ever prototyped something before actually making it. I prototyped this blood trail and how it would feel throughout the game. Or throughout this little intro. Oh, we got little flies. Did you notice that? I'm really proud of those little models. Anyway, which is super embarrassing because I've been doing this for like, what, 5 years, and I've never prototyped anything before. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're only going to talk about the positives. So we got a little creepy message here, which you can dig into the lore or whatever. This video is already gonna be super long. Boom. Okay, so this is one of my okay, in my opinion, one of the most iconic images in the real world. I don't think anyone agrees with me, but this chair being impaled by this giant metal thing, right? And it's very, at least for me, I have a very low gore tolerance, so to me it's very disturbing. But I realize that to most people it's like whatever. But to me, I'm proud of it. So all right, so here we are in this big room, and I really love this light. I spent a lot of time working on this light, where you can see like the blood reflects the color. It's so cool, and then it slightly sways, and then there's all these flies and stuff. Just a room to show the damage of this place. And we are introduced to the sticking note for the first time, mentioning that there's not a single body, but so much blood, which is a good point. Then we have this, which says the springs are alive. Fun fact about this, it's not a fun fact, it's an embarrassing fact. When I initially released this, none of my beta testers spotted this, which maybe is a flaw with the system. But it didn't say the springs were alive. It says the rings were alive or the strings, because I had forgotten the P. So that was embarrassing, and I noticed that in someone's live stream. That was the worst place I could possibly notice. But there's a ton of little details in here, etc. We're not going to be worried about that too much, though. So we have this super, super, super simple little puzzle here, where we need to place a weight ball, and the weight ball is over here. And I just did this to kind of introduce the idea of how Venge uses items and how you can expect them to be used. So we have to backtrack a tiny bit to go back over here. And I do want to show you something else. There was a secret that I added, a little scripted moment that I thought every player would get, and it turns out no players got it. It's right here. See, there's a figure in the window, and then poof, he's gone. Ooh. Yeah, I thought everyone would see that, but it turns out no one saw it, so my work was wasted. But it's okay. Maybe you guys will appreciate it now. But just tiny little area. Very cool. Very spooky. And then let's navigate over here, and we'll put the weight ball right back. And I love these little flies. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. Everyone should comment about how great the flies are. Anyway, okay. I need to get some water. Boom. So that opened the door, obviously. And now we're introduced to this little hallway here. Now, this is the first time that we're introduced to this thing called the mold. This is what it looks like. It's really detailed. I really like the shader with it. But this is kind of, this came about in a 1.0 update. It was added late into the 2.0 development because it was, added at 1.0. But I'll talk about it a little bit more, but we have the sticky note being like, here's the mold, and then saying like, it's weird that the blood is all on the ceilings. But with this mold, I really wanted to add something mystical into the beginning of the game, because you'll see when we get to the later parts of the game, but the game gets pretty fantastical and pretty mythical and stuff. Ooh, I forgot about the cartoons. Okay, we'll talk about those in a second. But I really wanted to introduce some of that earlier on into the game, and so I came up with the concept of the mold. Anyway, let's go take a look at this little cartoon before we power off the lights here. This desert is so pretty. I want to live here. Gonk. 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 A few hours later. Oh, I can't even read that. It's all done. It's perfect. Let me scoot up closer. Oh. She lives in the middle of nowhere. So this is the first cartoon, and there's a few of these scattered around. And they all tell different stories about Rutnik, which was added after one of my friends playtested 2.0. And they were like, you need to have stuff like this. So I was like, that's a good point. Anyway, so let's unlock this little puzzle here, and let's go from here. So, oh no! This sort of light mechanic is being reused from a game way back in 2018 that I made. But It's never used again, but that's fine. It's fine. I think I like it. I like it. You used to have to pump this thing like boom, 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 but I changed it because players didn't know that, so I made it a grab and hold. Anyway, so now we enter into my favorite part of the real world here, which is the open world aspect of it. So here we are, we're in this giant space, and there's going to be a jump scare right there. It's actually gotten players really well, and I really appreciate that. So there's some sticky notes. We're not going to read this because I already know what they say. You can read them if you want. But basically we need to go find the theater. I have to wait for the... There we go. So we're going to go find the theater. That's the main objective of the game, but we're kind of just going to spend some time taking in this environment and talking about it. I did press the middle mouse. Why aren't you going away, tutorial? Oh, well, okay, so this part of the game came about because I had received some feedback from the original version of this game, and they basically said that the real world was cool, but it didn't have enough to make you stay. Like, people would get through the real world in like 3 minutes, and I didn't really want that. So, oh, here's another cartoon. We'll watch that one in a second. So I came up with this idea to have an open world aspect where you could explore the real world freely on your own pace, and then you would discover everything you wanted to discover on your own. I think that idea is fine, but in retrospect I kind of regret it because it ended up leading to a lot of confusion and a lot of playthroughs that got ruined, I guess. Specifically, I think of the Fusion Z Gamer playthrough where he spent a lot of time trying to figure out the pipes, which was completely my bad. That was entirely my fault, and I regret it deeply. But I fixed it since then. But I like the idea of having an open world, but I just wish I would have done something different. But you know what? It's too late now, and it's led to a lot of great changes. So we're gonna live with it. We're gonna run with it. So I'm stuck in this thing. There we go. Okay. So let's make our way to the theater over here, and we'll watch that cartoon real quick. But yeah, so right now there's 4 endings in this game. Spooky. There's 4 endings in this game for the real world, and we're gonna do the crane one because it's just the most simple. Don't touch mold. We'll look into that anyway. Here we go. Here we go. I love my house. Oh no! FX, how did you find me? Looks like you forgot your... I know, I should do an FX impression. Looks like you forgot your builder's permit. I love this little dolly zoom. I think it's so stupid. Oh, I forgot those little explosions. Oh no, Lucy impression. Almost. The end. What a happy cartoon. Anyway, I think there's actually... Yeah, fun fact. See this little junk behind this little wall here? This was originally part of a puzzle where you would have to assemble some gears. You would have to, like, climb up here and assemble some gears. It was a whole thing. It was kind of stupid. But I never got rid of that model, so... Little fun fact for you. Alright, let's walk in here, and let's trigger the cutscene. Alright. I am so proud of this little animation here. Doing this sort of thing in Unity can be pretty tricky, but I think it came out really, really well. So, also this room, let's just take in this room for a second. We have Rotnick's 3rd birthday, and then we have some tickets, which again, you can read on your own. I'm not going to go through them, but they're pretty funny. Then we got some weird mold stuff going on there, which we will get to in a second. But let's just get started with the actual task. So from here, the bridge is broken, and you can either go down 4 different paths to get across this bridge. So you can either do the crane ending, you can do the ending with the pipes, like I mentioned, you can do an ending with the CEO's office, or you can do an ending with a spring scanner. Ooh. Should we do that one instead? No, we're gonna do the crane one, because the crane one is the most basic. But little fun fact about this room, little game development secret. I was having a lot of trouble with people recognizing that they were supposed to do the crane. So one thing that I did that worked really well is this little blue flashing light. From here you're able to spot it like on the walls and stuff, and then it has this sort of gray texture that doesn't seem to be loaded. Whatever. And it casts shadows and it draws your attention to the top of the crane. And then also you get a task when you leave. And then this TV thing here. What was that? That's pretty spooky. Alright, so let's make our way back out here. And the way that I kind of imagine this would be players being like, huh, now what do I do? And then try to figure out how to get across that bridge, which I don't know if I executed very well, but we shall see. Okay, I want to talk about this mold here too, real quick. So this came very, very, very late, and I wanted to add some danger into the real world. And so here it is. So if we were to walk into this mold here and look carefully, we may spot. There he is! A little mold monster who will kill me if I don't get out. Perfect. This is actually really interesting because it's not actually a 3D model. It's a image that's being rendered on top of your screen. And then I have a script that places it in the real world, which is pretty awesome. Oh, I wanted to show you something. One moment. Let me grab it. This is actually my original plan for what I wanted to do with the real world. So you can see here that I had like a catapult and I had the building power randomly going out, tons of rocks, etc. And then you would have been able to do different pathways to complete the gap, to cross the bridge. So the only one that actually made it into the game is this launch yourself over the gap, but the methodology was a little bit different. And then there was also going to be a mechanic about getting chairmen really mad. But I ended up scrapping all of this just because I couldn't figure out how to implement it in the game. But it's a little history lesson for you. So, sorry. Let's just jump right back into the game. And from here, we're going to head over to the AES system. So, once we make our way in here, the AES system used to live way over here, in this little corner here. And the AES system is really important to the lore, obviously, but no one found it when it was hidden over here. So this is another game dev little trick that I learned. If I want people to see stuff, I have to make it obvious. So I removed AES system from that little hole there, and I moved it all the way over here. I have no idea what this curve thing is. I'm gonna have to look into that. I think I need to do a quality of life update, just polish and stuff. Anyway, so we enter into this little hallway here, and there's a lot of stuff to read here. There's a lot of little secrets and things like that. There might be some laptops, which laptops came in pretty late in development as well. Where's my favorite laptop? They basically just have conversations. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one's my favorite. I love this one. This one's great. Anyway, so we're not about to read all of that. You can read that in the game if you'd like to. But we have some newspapers for it, and then we walk over here and into this giant area, and boom, 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 the AES system. That was perfectly timed. Good job, Venge. This room is actually from 1.0, and the only reason that I kept it is because people liked it. People said that it was scary when they played it, so I was like, why not? I'll keep it. Anyway, back to what I was doing. Boom, 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 the AES system. So let's walk over here. I redid the drawing for this thing because the old one was really bad. But here's what it looks like. You get the picture. It's a pretty crazy idea. This is actually what inspired Venge. I'm gonna do a video one day about like how Venge came to be. And quick recap, basically, I went to the Utah State Capitol when I was in 4th grade. And they basically said that the entire Capitol was on top of springs, so that if there was an earthquake, the building would just sway back and forth instead of like going, you know what I mean? And not 4-year-old, like 7-year-old me, however old I was in 4th grade, I was like, oh my gosh! And I imagined giant springs holding up the building, and then that idea just stuck with me until I'm in my 20s, and then I was like, let's make a game out of it. But anyway, so let's walk over to the AES system here. And it looks like we need to restart it. There's a little sticky note there, but we'll restart it really quick. There was a lot of debate over if I should make this a cutscene or not, like have the player be controlled. And I ended up deciding against it because I don't know, I just like having the ability to look at it yourself. It feels a little bit more connected to the world itself. But then I love this little lighting here. I think it looks really nice. Let's hop right in. So we have a little lore clue here. Notice this sky works with the flash drive plugged in. Take note of that. Anyway, I just enabled operation power. We have some consoles so we can type in some commands. Like if we type in eCarCoaster, a flop. We could type in maybe cartoonist. And we could type in help see rot, like rot, can I spell Rotnik? Etc. etc. There's tons of stuff you can find there, but then there's also some logs, which have logs from the days of operation. Anyway, we're not going to go into that. If you want to go into that, you can play it for yourself. But now that the AES system is operational, we should be able to operate that crane. I forgot to show you, but we basically needed to do this step first. Trust me, guys. Trust me. So let's just kind of navigate back in over here. And I would like to show you some more areas, if that is okay with you. We got this little office here with some notes. Pretty awesome stuff. Ooh, I want to talk about this. We'll let AES talk for a second.
The power has been reset in the AES maintenance room.
The power will be out for some time. In order to efficiently reset the power, please stand by.
Okay, I'll talk about this in a second, but I want to quickly go over here and say that making this email client was really fun. It was super cool. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I just like doing that. I think I did that in a live stream, actually. Okay, so I would like to talk about the AES system. The way that I built it, it's not like a physical object besides what's over there, but there's probably like 7 or 8 like audio sources, like actual speakers placed all around the world. They're invisible, but they're placed all around the world, and they all have different pitches, different timing, and different placement, so that the audio from the AES system actually sounds like it's coming from different places in the building, which is pretty cool. It's a nice little detail, but that was pretty tricky to do. So we're gonna head over here in a second, but first things first, I wanted to go and oh, there's an artifact for you. If you needed to find that one, there you go. We're gonna walk over here and we're gonna talk about these 2 rooms over here real quick. I promise I won't take that long. We're already almost at 25 minutes here, but it's fine. Assuming you're watching at this point, you're in for the long run. Let's go talk about the pool room first. So this is a room that I changed pretty early on in the 2.0 development. And this is a room that has caused a lot of problems for new players. And I am so sorry, specifically a few gameplay videos. It haunts me to this day. But we have this giant pool here with some electricity that's not ideal. And then this character design manifesto here, which I think is really funny. You can read that if you want. But this room, I really wanted to show, let me get out of the sparkler sounds, because that's probably not very fun to listen to. Let me scoot over here. I really wanted to show that Ronick had a crap ton of money, and they were very generous with spending it. You can read in that manifesto there, they just kind of like spent it, right? So I thought that was pretty fun to do. So anyway, we're gonna go over here. Let's take our ride up the elevator here. This elevator is from 1.0, you can probably tell because it's pretty badly modeled, but whatever. We have some offices, and then we have this one, which is one of my favorite effects in the game. And then if you try to walk down it, it goes... Wait, why is it taking so long? Ah! Okay, yeah, it does that, and then it's gone. Anyway. Ooh. It did not like that. There's a lot of random stuff that can happen in this game, which I think is cool. Oh, what's this in here? Oh, this is Fox's. I love Fox. Oh, there's another Lucy plush. Nice. Fox is very, very, very fun. Anyway, so... Ooh! Watch this. I want to show you something. This is probably going to break my save, but I think it's worth it. So, if we ride the elevator up here, and then we quickly jump down, and we go underneath here... No, I fixed it! Okay, basically, it would have pushed you through the floor, and then you would have landed in a secret room. And the secret room is still down there. You just can't access it. But that was going to be something that I was going to implement, but I just ran out of time. But there's that. What else should I talk about? Ooh, so these little Rotnik bots, they're all over the place. What am I? Oh, it's the mold. They're all over the place. And they were originally going to be a fifth ending, where basically my concept was they were going to be able to be ordered around with a little remote, so you could order, quote unquote, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the microphone. You could quote unquote order food, and then you would order food to different places, to different people, to different employees. But the interesting thing would be that it would, like, for example, let me go to one of their offices. It would, like, let's say we ordered food as Prisha over there, then the Rotnik bot would go to where Prisha died, because that's where she was seen last, right? So it would have been a little cool lore exploration thingy, but I just ran out of time with them. And there was gonna be another room added. Where was I gonna add it? I believe it was gonna be. I'll point it out when I get to it because I don't remember where I was gonna put it, but there was going to be a whole other room just for them. And then I had a whole love story thing planned with them too, because there's all of these dead robots and then one of them would be alive. The robot's name was Bunny. And so the only robot alive was named Bunny, and he would have been really sad that all of his friends were dead. And then there was like a love story song thing. It was a whole thing. I scrapped it because it just... Too big, too big. Okay, so... Let's talk about this room now. Sorry, I'm so disjointed. If you're still watching this, thank you so much. I'm not editing this video because it's really long and I am very tired. So, I got these cute little posters. This was something I did really early on in 2.0's development. We got some little fun references here. I really liked making these. This one is my not favorite because it looks like crap, but this is a reference to Baby Story on my main channel, which is the series that really blew up my channel. So I thought I'd do a reference, and then I chose season 2, episode 2, because that was the episode of Baby Story that made me really sad. If you know, you know. Okay, so let's enter into this room now. Oh, I should have mentioned the pool is where the pipe ending is. Anyway. So here we are in this. Ooh, look. Spooky face. Spooky scary face in the tree. Ooh. Anyway, so this room right here, I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know what to do with it. So with the original 1.0, I just kind of made it because I thought it looked pretty, and then I didn't. It was kind of useless. And so then with 2.0, I was like, I'm gonna give it a use, but then I didn't. So it's kind of pointless. There's not really that much here. Um, and that's my bad. That's my bad. And then even more so, there's this whole render farm over here, which this place is completely useless. I mean, it's pretty and it has a cool jump scare in it, but that's literally it. So I regret that, but whatever. I do want to talk about this though. If you know Venge, how interesting. If you don't know Venge and you don't know what I'm talking about, later on in the game we'll see another power box just like this. And this is hinting that the laserette takes place in this part of Rodnik, which is the same big tree here, and you can see... I thought this would be way more obvious, but it turns out no one picked up on it. These are the same plants from laserette. Just, you know, realistic. Let me see if I can find a picture. One second. Okay, I couldn't find a picture, but look, see? See what I mean? It's the same tree and the same plant, right? Okay, it doesn't look that close, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I thought people would catch on to that, but they didn't. And then there was another thing that I added. Where was it? It was somewhere around here. We'll kind of wander through here and see if we can find it. But a lot of mold, A lot of empty offices, which is kind of the point of this place. Here it is. I added this inner inspectable, which took everyone forever to find, which basically hints at the knobbers, but we'll see that later on. Anyway, so this room is completely pointless. You could remove it from the game, and it honestly would change nothing, which is super embarrassing. But okay, I will show this. Let's see if I can even trigger it. There is a secret here, which I don't think anyone has ever found. So I'm gonna spoil the surprise here. Let's see, can I trigger it? Ah! Yeah, there we go. This pathway will sometimes collapse. It's random, but sometimes it'll happen. Little fun secret for you. Anyway, let's get out of this boring office place and head over into the theater. Finally, we're 30 minutes into this video. We're not even in the theater yet. Okay, so this just reset its position. Okay, whatever. That's intentional. That's spooky. Yeah. Okay, so let's go over here. And if you notice, because of the AES system, we open this crane here. So let's climb up. And people who've played Venge already know that I have a problem, but look. Oh no, I don't have a key. Whoops. I need to get permission from Chuck Robson, who lives in the construction. So let's gracefully fall down there, and we're gonna speed run over there. So, originally the crane key lived inside of that room over there, which I guess gave that room a purpose. But I actually moved it to a different office near the daycare because I wanted to give the daycare a bit more of a use. So, which you can actually see, there it is. So this is something I added in 2.1 because players were getting lost very easily. So this helps make it really clear where you're supposed to go. But the daycare, we're going to talk about the daycare in a second. Here's another thing that I added that I thought everyone would understand, but no one did. This whole crime scene here, see? No one understands this, and I was really disappointed by it because I worked really hard on it. But you can read that again if you want to, pause the video, whatever, or explore it for yourself. You can see I accidentally, this little office here is in front of the stop motion studio, and the idea behind this little office is it can be moved around, but you can see floor plans for the stop motion studio, which rip that it never actually happened. But we have a really disturbing message here, so you can read that if you want to. I don't think I can read it because then I'll get demonetized. We have this office, which, let me just say, Noel Brook is the luckiest person on earth, because if you know the lore, everyone died on Friday, so he was out on vacation when everyone died. Lucky. Everyone say that. Ooh, we have this one too. This is an artifact. I see something in the mold. Something I added. No one really noticed it for a while. But here we have the office. Oh, right. Here we have the office of Betsy Brown. Remember this name, head of daycare. It's going to come in a little bit. But this office is a mess. It is very messy in here. There's an inspectable here, which you can read if you want. My idea for this is there's a lot of children artwork inside of the daycare, but what I was imagining, and it did not come across very well, was that she keeps all of the original children's artwork in her office. So like these are the original pieces that the children made, and then she makes photocopies and puts the photocopies in the daycare so that the kids can, you know, spit on it or chew on it or whatever kids do to paper, and then it wouldn't ruin the artwork. So that's why she has a ton in there, and that's why there's duplicates, because they're photocopied. Anyway, let's head over into the daycare here. FX's Play Castle, ominous foreshadowing, if you know, you know, which no one does know because it's Act 2. But hey, look at this. We have a little TV. So let me move out of the way so it resets. All right, let's watch this cartoon here. Oh no, I'm innocent. I need someone's help. I need to lose the impression.
I need someone's help.
A sticky note.
Help! FX framed me.
And then she throws the sticky note out of her prison cell, but it unfortunately goes nowhere. The end. So so let me kind of preface this. There's a huge debate within my community about who is the sticky note person. I've kind of been glancing over their sticky notes because they're not really important because we're just walking through the game. But the sticky notes are really important and their character is kind of a mystery. It's either between Lucy or a new character. And when I released the Patreons are very adamant that it's a new character. But when I released this cartoon, they were very upset with me because this shows Lucy writing a sticky note. Kind of subtle, but should I show this? I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna regret this. Okay. No. I'm gonna show it, whatever. Okay. No, I shouldn't. Okay, you know, it's fine. It's fine. All I'm gonna say is this. Let's watch this cartoon for a second while I pull up a picture. Okay, just watch this cartoon again. I'm gonna pull up a quick little picture here. And I'm not going to say anything about this picture, okay? I'm just going to show the picture. And then I'm going to... I should not be doing this. Whatever, it's too late. I already committed. I'm just going to show the picture, and I'm not going to say anything. And do not ask me questions, because I will not answer them. Ready? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say, okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's an Act 2 teaser, if you don't know. It's one of the ones that you can get at the very end of the game. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. So here we are in the little daycare here. I should have not done that. Whatever. Enjoy the free lore. Here in this little daycare, we have... I mean, it's kind of a badly designed daycare, to be honest. But we have a few little things that I want to point out that'll come in the future. We have a deadly bridge. Quite deadly, if you do say so for myself. And then we also have... Let me see if I can find it. This is lore important, but I don't think anyone understands why. We have over here a princess tower. And then we also have over here a fun garden. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to see it in a bit, in a few more episodes. But just keep that in mind. Put that little pin in your head for the next few weeks, however long it takes me to make the Helpsy episode. Anyway, so let's head over here and let's make our way to this. By the way, this vent, if you know what's behind this vent and you know the secret here, it's really gross. I can't believe I included that in the game, but whatever. Here. This is the daycare classroom, and it is very overrun with mold, right? It looks pretty gross in here. This is what I was talking about, the photocopies. So these are not the original artworks, but these are the photocopies. And the thing that I want to point out about this classroom is this over here. So it may not look immediately obvious, but take a look here. And then there's a note from Betsy Brown here, who's the daycare lead. There is a lot of blood and tiny little fingerprints and everything on here. This is the first room that I added gore into 2.0. And when I tell you that it's really not that bad, but I just am an extremely weak person. So when I was so sick making this room, I literally almost threw up. I was so grossed out by it, but now it's like nothing compared to some of the other stuff that are in this game. But the implications here are, you know, kind of serious. There's a lot of blood on that ceiling and a lot of blood under that table. And then that note, you can pause and read it if you want to, but I want to point out, I shouldn't be pointing this out because of lore, but last line, where is Davy? And we saw the little bit of blood standing by itself over there. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I need to stop. I need to stop giving lore clues. We also have another area here, which is one of my favorite areas, the Executive Offices. So this had a rework pretty late into development. I made this little sign here because a few of the patrons were like, Joe Rotnick is so evil, and I was like, I don't want him to be that evil. It's very low quality, but ignore that. So I made this sign to kind of hopefully make him look less evil. But originally Joe's office was right here, and it was super tiny, so I eventually moved it to elsewhere, so it's a little bit bigger. But we got some offices here, we got an elevator, and let's go up this elevator here, which, ominous foreshadowing, perhaps? It's the same elevator model. Ooh, ominous foreshadowing. It's really lame, but Here we go. All right, so Joe Rotnick's office. So we'll head in here. And this kind of just speaks for itself. Right? Right. You know. I actually made this office after I made the flip version of Joe Rotnick's office. So usually it's the other way around. Usually I make the real world version first. But there's some secrets in here. There's a lot of... Alright, that's just this thing. There's a lot of lore. You can read through this. I don't really care to right now because the video is already 40 minutes long. And we're not even at the theater yet. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I have to show you this room too. So, this room is one of my favorite rooms. The game is like, hey, heads up. The chair is over there. Anyway, this is one of my favorite rooms. I made it pretty early on into development. It's just a trashy room, and then there's a secret down there which you can go explore if you want. And then there is a slide up here, which we're going to go down the slide. The slide was one of the first things I thought of for 2.0. I was like, Rotnick needs to have a slide. I don't know why. Is that floating? No, it's not floating. It's not floating. It's hanging on right there. That's not a bug, guys. That's not a bug. That's a feature. All right, so, if we move over here, we have a slide. And I was really inspired by Pixar. Pixar has a slide, I think. And we can go wee all the way down, which is actually a perfect transition because I forgot to mention something. See this little hole up here? And then up here as well, there's a hole inside of this little stage thing in the middle. Originally, instead of the task being get to the theater when I was making 2.0, my idea was to have like a segment where you would get inside of an elevator and then the elevator would rise you to the top right up there, and then something would happen, the power would go out, and then you'd be stuck hanging there, and you would have to figure out a way to get down. It was alright, but I animated it, and I made it, but it just wasn't very fun, so I scrapped it. Alright, now let's finally get to the theater. We're 45 minutes into this video. This video is going to be like over an hour long, which hopefully you guys will enjoy. I don't know, we'll see. But let's make it to the theater. Boom. It's not like we've been here before. Alright, let's finally climb up this little ladder thing here. Now we can use the crane. So the crane was the first official mechanic I made for the real world. It's not the first one I thought of, but when I did think of it, I was like, yes. And I didn't expect it to kind of become the default that I wanted all players to do. That just kind of happened because the crane is super easy to use. Alright, let's cross this crane, finally. We have some lore right here. I'll click it. How to know if mold is making you hallucinate. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Can I be any more obvious than this? Any more obvious than this? Anyway. Okay, so then we have perhaps the best cartoon in all of the real world. This was made by, I always pronounce their name wrong, I'm so sorry, but it's Xeons, something like that. And they made this incredible cartoon. We're just gonna watch it. We're just gonna watch it. Boom. There we go. Xeon's made that whole thing, even the audio. It's super, super awesome. When I first saw it for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh. I originally put this one inside of the Daycare, but it was so good that I had to put it in a place where everyone could see it. But anyway, now that we got that done, let's say goodbye to Rotnick, because at this point, we cannot turn back. We can, actually. Okay, so here's another thing that I added really late into development. This is 2.1. This. So this little area over here, and then we have this sticky note with this article. You can read it if you want. I love this one. When I wrote it, sorry, when Joe Rotnick wrote it, I had so much fun. Like, my favorite line of My favorite line of this whole thing is, please don't tank this incredible opportunity with your wild hallucinations. Ghostly monsters are not roaming our halls, just mentally insane employees. I love that line. I think it's so insane, but you can read it if you want. Notice the date. If you know, you know. Anyway, so then this whole area, I framed it in a very specific way, so when we eventually turn around, that's what we see. So we get this thing, which I think looks pretty creepy. It follows me in the mold. Ominous. Ominous. Pretty spooky. So then we're forced here to cross the mold, just in case we haven't already. There's an artifact right here, which is just the picture, which I think this looks really scary. I took this picture on my own whiteboard, and then I photoshopped something out of this. I can't remember. I think I had a notes or something. And then we have this laptop here, which is from, Chuck Robson. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not going to say more. All right. Now let's get into the theater. So this room right here is also very new. And I really just wanted to emphasize, Rodnick is 3 years old, and look at how much they've won. Like this is like seriously insane. Like these are all different trophies from different award shows. How are they 3 years old and did this much winning? And then there's a conveniently placed email talking about strange success. Hey, it's really weird that Rodnick is having all the success. Interesting. Anyway, so this is actually, okay, a little funny story. When I was remastering the real world with the mold, this is actually the first room that I started with. I started with the ending and then I went all the way to the beginning because I thought that would work out better, and it worked out fine. But this is the first room I added the mold in, and I think it turned out pretty well. Anyway, the ominous theater. So, little notes there if you want. Little geometry right there. Ready? And we're introduced to the red source for the first time. And then that spring goes off. Very ominous, very spooky. This room is so beautiful. And then let's just take a second to listen to the soundtrack. It's a combination of these really harsh synths going wow, 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 almost like an alarm and a lucid dream or whatever, as well as just people screaming and being like banging on doors and stuff. It's the first time you hear voices and music in Venge, so it's kind of a big deal. And then we have Chairman up there watching us, and then it's just a spooky vibe. And then this whole join us, going behind the curtain. And so let's make our way. You can actually jump off the stage here, I think, if you're good enough, which it looks like I'm not. Oh well, we're gonna go the right way. And then you might notice as we get on the stage, the spotlight turns to follow us. Who's controlling the spotlight? I wonder who. Anyway, it's stupid. So then we get backstage, and this is where the game starts to really turn. I'm sure my commentary is really setting the mood. But we have this backstage thing here, which, wow, that's pretty. We got a lot of mold. We got a set, it looks like, with FX Castle and these banners. Let's walk over here. And then we have the sticky note, which you can read if you want. And we cross the bridge here. And this area is designed to kind of force us to see the hallucination, which is by design. And then is this thing saying anything? All right, these sticky notes are really lore important. I'm not gonna read them. You just do your thing with them. All right, we load in the Pinter, which, if you're wondering why this causes a lag spike, essentially what it's doing is it loads in the entire Pinter map all at once. So that's why it might give a lag spike. Anyway, so now we walk back here.
Attention all Rodney cast and crew. Please remain backstage as celebrity guests who the Kessler repeating arrives on set.
So, let me kind of clear out my inventory a tiny bit. Well, no, I don't actually need it. So, let's see. Yeah, I do, I do. We're gonna clean some of this out. I don't. Oh, all right. See ya. So this right here was the first time I ever made these sorts of survivor stories, as I call them. Um, Essentially what they are is the survivor's last words, and this is the first one I made, and I was really disturbed by the idea of the survivors cutting symbols into their skin to be able to identify their bodies because they knew they were going to die. So this one message mentions that. So Shannon cut a triangle with a little thing on top. Sarah cut a square, and then Chuck cut an X. Um, I find that idea very disturbing, especially in like the daycare when like the children are doing it. I think it's incredibly disturbing. So, good additions. And then it looks like they never finished it. But then if we walk over here, this is one of those cases where the game forces you to basically see the hallucination because the weight ball is over here. And then this has some more lore, which you can read if you'd like. We're going to head over here though, and we are going to get this thing solved. So this puzzle is very simple. We just basically go zoop, and then I think this is 10. Yeah. Zoop. All right, let me collect my items. Sweet. All right. Then this should be good. Beautiful. All right. So we've officially entered the point of no return. So when we walk over here, Rotnik Theater finally open. Okay. That's a dead end. Right? Oh. I can't believe I missed that. This part, I love watching players react to this because it's so fun. This room wasn't here before. I learned that on the final days of Rotnik, employees were reporting that the building was getting more confusing, as if it were warping. I'm starting to feel that too. Mom, please, you better be in here. I want to go home. Okay, I completely forgot. I overlooked this completely. But essentially, the sticky note person is trying to find their mom, and their mom said that they're in Rotnik because their mom used to work at Rotnik, which is interesting because we got a newspaper saying that we should go to Rotnik. Anyway, this was definitely not here before, so let's walk down the aisle. Oh, walk down the aisle, and here we are. Local teacher wins Diamond Apple Award. Local teacher Betsy Brown, we saw her earlier, wins Diamond Apple Award for her excellent care and protection of Rotnik's daycare district. Despite the district being open for no more than a week, Brown's excellent love and care has surpassed every teacher on the planet. Can you believe that? Every single teacher. She was only the daycare assistant, and she is the only daycare assistant in history to receive this award. Interesting. She stated it in an interview, I'd lose both my arms and legs for them. No, I'd die for them. Presumably referring to the children, not the Diamond Apple Awards. But it's ambiguous. Alright, let's go down this door. Hey, this is a very long hallway. And it's a long hallway because it's an infinite hallway. So the way that this works is, you might have just noticed it now. Yeah, that seems to be an issue. But what it's doing is it's teleporting us seamlessly between these two different doors here. So this, I'm just opening the same door over and over and over. And once you do at least 2 of these, then the game will allow you to continue. But, okay, this is pointless. This always freaks players out, and I'm so happy with it. Okay. Alright, so we're trapped in here. I guess we'll keep going this way. There was one person I watched in the live stream, they opened this door, and they literally screamed. It was so good. It was so good. Okay, well, that hallway looks blocked off. I guess we're gonna go back to this door. Oh. Okay. We're back in here. I don't remember there being so many posters. Little foreshadowing here. If you know, you know. Anyway, I don't remember there being this many posters of Betsy Brown, but... And this is definitely new. Okay, so for this part, this is playing a track I call Holes in Cave. And it's basically... I can't play it because it would hurt your ears. But it's a very, very loud, obnoxious track. And what I was going for here was a very, very sensory overwhelming experience where all of these little flashes of lights are happening and you're lost and you're in a strange place and there's tons of mold and the cave is like screaming at you and it's just a very, very overwhelming experience, right? That's what I was going for. And I think I did it. It used to be way louder though in the betas. So let me make it to the storage closet. Boom! Look at that. There's so many cool little effects in here. Now we're just in a completely different room with this freaky looking drawing. And this is the first time we see the flipped space. Pretty cool. Anyway, let's read these sticky notes. Genuinely screw this. I don't know what I was thinking. My mom is not here. She's dead. I must have dreamt that letter. I can't turn back. I need to find a way out. There's gotta be a way out. And then we have this one, which this is from Joe Rotnick as well. It's very similar to the one we looked at before with the mold monster. As you can tell, it's a little bit more crazy, which you can read that on your own. But which let me look at the date of this one. Very interesting. Anyway, all right, let's press and hold open this door. Here we go. And enter into this room here. What is that? I like that effect a lot. It flips the entire map here. I really like Pinter's introduction. I feel like it's really, really well done. And then we go down this hallway. It starts to fall, and then... Nope. What is happening? I'm hallucinating. Am I hallucinating too? I'm going to try this hallway. Which, fun fact, there's actually 2 different sticky notes, and it will... And whichever hallway you're looking down first, that's where the sticky note will appear. It's very overkill. But let's just go down this hallway, I guess. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. We're not doing that. We're not doing that today. We're not doing that today. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay. It actually really scared me. So this chase used to be way harder. You used to have to run backwards yourself, but I realized that no one was able to figure it out, so I had to force it. But it's basically impossible to die during this chase, but it is possible, but it's hard. So that was really freaky. Again with these newspapers. Like, genuinely at this point, where are we? We're just getting deeper and deeper. I'm just getting deeper and deeper. There's no way. Is this seriously how I die? Yeah, it seems like, oh, it's over here. I haven't read this one in a while. Side note, what is that monster thing? I thought it was just a hallucination, but it hurt me. It hurt me too. You're not alone. Alright, let's make our way over here. Stretch textures, ignore that. Ignore that. We're not going to talk about that. Alright, let's make our way up here. And here is where the real Pinter chase begins. Look, it's the moon. Look how pretty. AES Foundational Control. Okay. Ah, okay, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. The Pinter's coming! Watch out! Alright, so you can see this twisty little hallway. I'm so proud of this hallway. I did it in a devlog, and it looks really, really, really awesome. So, anyway, we're on the run, and this whole hallway's flipping around. We're seeing the flip space. It's all crazy. And then we enter this big room. This big room caused me so many problems. You all better appreciate this big room because the physics were crazy. Oh no! I'm so proud of this room. It's so cool. The entire room flips upside down. Oh my gosh, we're actually gonna die. Holy crap. Ah! Holy crap. So we gotta run over the exit, and I love how it just flips upside down completely. It's so, so, so cool. Alright, let's make it through here. Another one of these stupid little grabbing, holding thingies. Over that little bridge. Let's hope that doesn't fall on us. Over through here. Ooh! Okay, okay. Alright, we gotta make it over here. Ready? Oh! Oh. That's a bug. I shouldn't have my flashlight. I guess now I have 2 flashlights. Well, I had 2 flashlights. That's a bug. We'll fix that. Okay, now this part of the game I need to change because it kind of sucks, but we're just gonna roll with it. If I honestly, I think the idea of is cool of having to shut the elevator, but it's kind of executed really badly. Well, something interesting though that I don't know if anyone's pointed out. The Pinter obviously has the power to open those doors, but why didn't she? All right, let's make our way up here. Wonderful. So, there's some lore with this one, game development lore. This was originally a segment in the dark where you would walk, there wouldn't be a door here, you'd walk through this little security thing, and then it would just be a dark hallway, and then you'd walk through this completely pitch black room, and the Pinter would be talking to you through the blackness, and you wouldn't be able to see anything, but you could hear stuff. I thought it was really cool, and then she would eventually chase you through the dark too. I thought it was really cool, but it just didn't work in this scene, so I eventually replaced it with what we have now. But maybe I'll reuse that concept some other time. All right, let's go down this little hallway here. Kind of a boring hallway, if I'm being honest. A little speed run skipped here. We can do just like that. Perfect. We have this very pretty light. I love this light. I don't know if anyone has ever appreciated the light before, but I'll be the first. So we have in here again with this stupid little poster. She loves that poster. Ooh. Little destroyed one. I love this part. I was so excited for this part. I love how the doors all open and close. I think that looks so cool. And then we make our way down here. And then, oh, my goodness. We're flipped around. Okay, let's make our way over here. And then boom. Oh, this is the part from the beginning. Oh, and this is the part from the very beginning. And then we make our way through here. And it's all these doors opening and closing. I think it's so cool. Ah. And then these doors going super fast. I don't remember why they go so fast. I think it was a bug that I just was like, actually, it looks cool. And we got a bunch of pink stuff coming at us. Little pink. Yeah. Boom. Boom. We made it to the finale, guys. I just love this room so much. There's so much I could talk about with this room, but I did a lot of this room's development during a devlog, so you can watch that if you want. But check this out. Oh look, there's our flashlight. Thank goodness. Okay, let's see how long I can survive in this place. Because I want to talk about a few different things. So the flashlight falling was actually it used to be completely physics-based. I'm sorry. It used to be completely physics-based, but then I couldn't get it to work reliably. So then I had to animate it manually. Anyway, so let's climb up these stairs here. So Pinter's AI here is exceptionally smart, and the way that it works is it uses training data from a bunch of players. So as you play, the more that you play, the smarter she gets. Which is, I think, really, really cool. So that's why avoiding her is going to be a challenge, because she knows how I like to play this part of the game. So I'll try my best, though. I know she can't get me in here, I don't think. But this part of oh my gosh. That scared the crap out of me. Okay, so it turns out she can. But I really wanted it to be a very pointless chase. I'm sorry that we couldn't do it all the way, but... Alright, so we're in this hallway here, and I love this hallway because if we try to turn and look, we can't. Oh, there's a little creepy thing behind us. but we can't turn, we can only look forward. It eventually redirects us forward. And any keys I press, I'm pressing the S key right now and the A and D, we are only forced to go forward. So there's really nothing we can do. The only thing we can do is stop and like look. But every other key moves us forward on this little path here. And so as we're moving, you can see that we're using this. It's the same texture that we used from earlier on in the game, except for now we have all these flipped colors, and this join us, and there's the Pinter, and if we watch her for a second, you can see it's flashing with the flipped sky, and notice our hotbar is pink, which it kind of seems like she's keeping us alive because we're not healing, and this whole room is going pink and stuff, and we're forced to walk. I can't do anything except for go up closer to her, and she's singing, and ominous. And that is where the Pinter ends. I'm really proud of that whole segment. I think that whole segment is so cool. I'm super proud of the execution. I think it's creepy, etc, etc. But it does need a tiny bit of work, so maybe I'll come around to it at some point. But I really need to stop improving Act 1. Like, at some point it's good. Okay, well, we're gonna end it there. Thank you all for watching. This is my longest video I've ever done, so thank you so much. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. You are awesome. And if you like this, you'll probably enjoy watching my live streams, which are every Saturday at 11 a.m. And I will see you there. But thank you all so much, like, genuinely, thank you. We're gonna continue this, hopefully, if you guys liked the video, so make sure to let me know if you did. If you hate the video, make sure to leave really mean comments. That helps with the engagement. So, I'm gonna head out for now, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye! Bye, Venge on Steam!